Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with something that is unbelievably cool. We have another brand new Lulu's Customs and Classics release. We have the Jurassic Park Chameleon style Carnotaurus. Now this is awesome. I have seen some people in the past create Carnotaurus with that sort of chameleon type of a look, and since the Carnotaurus in the novel of the Lost World Jurassic Park can camouflage and stuff, they have that basic idea of them being very chameleon-like, which is why they look like this. And I've seen, again, numerous people even taking Mattel figures to kind of create that chameleon Carnotaurus sort of a look. But Lulu's Customs and Classics has gone ahead and created not one, but two different versions of the chameleon Carnotaurus here for us to enter into our collections. We've got a male version and a female version, and we also have different poses and stuff on them. And they honestly look so unbelievably cool here in person. Like, the moment these arrived, I instantly had to call my son and say, tell him to come here so I could show these to him, because he loves dinosaurs as well, and I knew these would blow his mind. And you can see, again, like I said, we've got a male and a female, and they are super nicely sculpted. I think, honestly, these are probably his best sculpts so far, which is really saying something, because he's had some pretty phenomenal sculpts previously. On top of that, you also get a card for the Carnotaurus. So if you do end up purchasing one, you can see he has some really cool artwork that he's created for the Carnotaurus. Again, it does state Chameleon Carnotaurus. And then if you turn it around here on the back, you could see more information and stuff, as well as his autograph right there, which is very nice to have. But again, I always love cards being included. You can see it has a really nice kind of a satin finish to it as well. He's been very good at coming up with different things to go with his figures, and now again including cards, which has been, something that's fairly common nowadays. I think is an awesome choice. But cannot wait to get a closer look at both of these guys, so as always, let's jump to it right now. So we will begin with what I would think would probably be the male variant of the two. And you can see, again, this one does have its mouth in an open position, which helps to give this a very, very cool appearance to it. Obviously, our Carnotaurus is coming in, I guess, for a bite to eat, it looks like. But one of the most defining features of this figure, straight out of the gate, of course, would be those very chameleon-like eyes. And you can see he has done a great job of not only sculpting those, but of course painting them as well. You can see we've got reds and yellows and a nice striping effect moving through, very, very much so, again, resembling a chameleon. And you can see the same thing as we turn it around and take a look at the opposing side. You can see we have very bumpy skin texture for our Carnotaurus. We have like osteoderms all over the face as you move through. You've also got the nostrils right there. And definitely a good bit of variation of color through the course of not just the head, but the body as well. But of course you can see again up here on the head there is a lot of variation with different greens and browns and stuff throughout. So he's done a very good job of painting the figure up. You can see the nostrils right there as well, and he has highlighted those nostrils with a nice dark tone. As you lead down here, you look inside the mouth, you can see the tongue sculpted out in there. You can also see all of the teeth are sculpted individually, painted, of course, individually. They look really quite nice. And we have a pinkish tone for the inside of the mouth as a whole. Seems to be the color we have through the course of the entire inside of the mouth. You can also see we have like some small ridges leading off of the underside of the throat of the Carnotaurus. You also have ridges up here on the back of the Carnotaurus that move down through the course of the spinal column. As you lead down here into the neck, you see more osteoderms, of course, and the dinosaur, in typical Carnotaurus fashion, is completely overloaded with osteoderms. So you'll see those pretty much everywhere as you move through the body. You can see the ear right there as well is sculpted out. We have a black striping effect moving down, which again, the patterning here again and the coloration is pretty much, I would say, exactly as I recall it being described in the Lost World Jurassic Park novel, which is exactly what he was going for. As you continue to move down, we continue to have all of the osteoderms and stuff throughout. You've got more of those ridges following along the back here, and I like how some of them are painted with a brown, but some of them have the black because of the striping. It looks really cool. Of course, my camera is going to have a panic attack because of the green coloration on this. For some reason, it just can't handle green tones, and I don't know why. But as you lead down, you can see the arms are kind of held back into the body. nicely. You can also see, again, if my camera would focus on it, that we have more of the variation of color, but you can also see some blues popping up right here in the shoulder area, or like leading down to the upper arm, I should say. And you can see more of the blacks, more of the greens. We do also have the nails painted, which on a real Carnotaurus, of course, like an actual scientifically accurate Carnotaurus, they didn't have nails, but since this is a Lost World Jurassic Park version, and it's also not a 100% full-blooded Carnotaurus, I think it's been displayed with nails through the entire Jurassic franchise. You see it in Jurassic World, I believe, and of course, you know, when it comes to the way it would appear in the novel, again, you also see most of the reconstructions of that Carnotaurus featuring nails, so of course following along with the way that it is meant to appear with this version, again, that novel style Carnotaurus. You've got more of the striping as you continue to move down. You have some really nice light greens as you lead down toward the underside of the Carnotaurus. As you lead back a little bit further, you can see the hip right there. You can also see, again, a nice big thigh for our Carnotaurus. More of that striping effect, more of the variations of greens, and yes, even a little bit more of the blues as you lead down. You've got very muscular legs on the dinosaur, of course. You can see the knee right there in the front of the leg. You can also see a big bulging calf muscle. We continue to have that super bumpy style skin texture to the Carno as you move down. You've got some scoots running down the toes, and you can see the nails are sculpted out very nicely, painted very nicely, as well as they feature a light tone with some black kind of mixing within, and then he has highlighted the nails with a nice gloss coat, which I think was a very nice decision. You can also see the dew claw right there, and then as you lead back up and you lead out into the tail, you can see the greens kind of start to diminish and like lead into the center, and then this very cool, super vibrant blue picks up and runs from the upper side as well as the underside of our Carnotaurus, and then pretty much overtakes the tail, and then the black overtakes the tip of the tail, and you can see again a nice striping effect moving through like you see through the majority of the Carnotaurus. If you lead along the underside, you can see the skin texture and everything looks really nice down here as well. And then if we take a look at the opposing side, you can see the Carnotaurus has its head turned toward us, toward its left a little bit. Not a massive turn, just a slight turn, which you can see right there. The arms are in pretty close to the same position, but this arm is held into the body a little bit more so than what you see on the arm on the other side. Again, we continue to have absolute overload here of osteoderms as you move through the course of the figure. The leg is in pretty much the same position on the male. Again, it's kind of just standing there with a nice menacing look on its face, but you can see again that the feet are positioned pretty similarly, maybe a little bit more forward on the left leg compared to the right leg. You can see the foot sculpt and everything again looks really nice over here, just like it did on the initial side. And the tail leads out and does have a slight turn toward the dinosaur's right, but it's just an ever so slight turn. So you're not going to see too much difference on one side compared to the other, but man, is that ever one of the coolest Carnotaurus figures that I now have to add to my collection. So unique, so different, and just unbelievably appealing if you ask me. And then again, we have the other version here, which would be, I think, the female version. So you can see this one is sculpted with its mouth in a closed position. You can see that right there. You've got the teeth still showing, though. You can see a little bit of the pink there of the inside of the mouth still kind of shining through right there, though. And you can see that the eyes, again, have that very much so chameleon-like look, which is really, really cool. Again, you've got the very nice paintwork of those eyes. Running through the face, we've got all sorts of variations of greens as well as browns, and rather than the black striping like we saw in the last Carnotaurus, we do have brown striping for this one, which I think again helps to give it that female-like look. You can also see the horns are, sculpted nicely, painted nicely. They have a variation of color like we see for the nails, where they have like a light, almost like a skin tone, and then you have like a brownish wash, it seems, that has been added to it. Same way that the horns were painted on the male version. They also feature a nice gloss coat, which I like. And then you can see the nostrils again, the very bumpy skin texture throughout. His paintwork on these, I think, might be some of my favorite paintwork that he has done so far. You can see this one as well. Features the ridges moving down along the back. You can see, of course, the ear right there, as well as the osteoderms and very bumpy skin texture. We do have the ridges moving along the underside of the neck and throat region of our Carnotaurus. And again, you can see just tiny variation of color here. You can see like very slight additions of browns and stuff. I love how realistically he paints his figures quite often. And you can see again that this one is basically just walking forward. The head doesn't have any kind of a turn or anything. It's basically just, heading straight forward. As you move down, you can see the arms yet again are held back into the body, which I really do quite like. Again, we have the hands sculpted very nicely. You can see the fingers themselves, the palm of the hand. Everything looks really, really good. He definitely took his time to sculpt out a very nice, very highly detailed Carnotaurus for us here, and you can see the opposite side of the hands and again the fingers and everything here for our Carno. Again, replicating that Lost World novel style Carnotaurus with a chameleon-like look. And as we continue to move along, again, you still see the striping. You see all of the osteoderms. Looks like most of the osteoderms, if not all of them, have been painted out with a brownish tone. Similar brown to the striping that we have moving through. As you lead back, you can see this one isn't quite in that standstill position, that neutral position that we saw in the other one, as you have the leg, trailing on this side. I almost said leading, trailing on this side, and you can see how the toes are picking up off of the ground. So this one is walking along. Almost looks like maybe it's walking to catch up to the other one. The other one just stopped to let out a roar or something, and this one's just kind of following up behind it, which I think is really cool. And you can see again that we have more of that striping leading down through the thigh, more of the very bumpy skin texture, as well as nice muscle definition, especially there in the calf. You can see the knee and the front of the leg. Again, the scoots moving down the toes, the nails again are sculpted and painted very nicely. You can yet again see that dew claw right there. And then as you lead back up here toward the tail and you lead out again, tail has pretty much a straight out look for this one. No real turns or anything for the tail on this one. We continue to have that brown striping though, and again the tail is overtaken with that brown as you lead out toward the tip, similar to what we saw in the other Carnotaurus, except that one was black rather than brown. And you can see again almost everything will look the same on this side compared to the other side. The arms seem to be in pretty much the same position or very close to the same position. Again, the head is straight forward, so you're not going to see a whole lot of difference there. As you move back, the biggest difference you'll see on this side is the fact that one leg is taking a step forward as the dinosaur is walking. You can see the foot is planted pretty much flat as the toes are picking up off the ground there for the other side. But again, you have all that same variation of color, all of the really nice paintwork on this Carnotaurus. Again, like I said, I think both of these are some of the nicest painted figures that he has done so far. And then you again lead out there into the tail with the very nice straight out tail. But that Carnotaurus honestly is absolutely epic, just like the other one was. And it is so incredibly cool not to just have one chameleon Carnotaurus, but we've got a pair.
Now, what else is cool about these Carnos is the fact that on top of, again, having a male and a female, they are also different sizes. So for what I think is the female version, for a length, you are looking at about 12 inches, or I would say around 30.5 centimeters. And then if we bring it forward, the highest point would probably be the horn right there. You're looking at about 4 3/4 inches, or right around 12 centimeters. And then if we take that one out of here and we bring in our, what I believe would be the male, definitely has the flashier colors, that's for sure. Lengthwise, you are looking at, for this one, about 12 3/4 inches, or 32.5 centimeters. And then height-wise, obviously this one's positioned a bit higher. You're looking at about 6.5 inches, or right around 16.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon in the Collect A Human Being next to our Chameleon Carnotaurus, and you can definitely see that they sport a very nice, very impressive size, and I would say honestly are probably the biggest figures that I've acquired from him so far. They definitely have, again, a very large size to them, which helps to make them even more impressive. We've also got a Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus here next to our Carnotaurus, which you can see the Carnotaurus are yet again significantly larger. And then again, a few more randoms, as we have the Safari LTDU Tyrannus, the Schleich Diabloceratops, and Collect A Deluxe Dimetrodon. These Carnotaurus are just very different than most Carnotaurus I have. Like, you usually have either smaller Carnotaurus or you have like the large Carnotaurus like the Mattel versions. These guys seem to sit somewhere in the middle. Like, they're definitely significantly larger than like the smaller type Carnotaurus, like the TNG Carnotaurus that we have right here. Now, the TNG version is very similar in size to like the Papo Carnotaurus, maybe a little bit smaller than the PNSO Carnotaurus. So you can obviously see that these don't size too well to each other. Obviously, the Lulu's Customs and Classics versions are a good bit larger than you'll find for those type of Carnotaurus figures. But then if we bring in the fan favorite Hammond collection version of the Carnotaurus from Mattel, you can very clearly see again the Mattel Carnotaurus are definitely a good bit larger. So obviously these Carnotaurus kind of sit somewhere in the middle. So these Lulu Customs and Classics Carnotaurus, again, Lost World Jurassic Park novel style chameleon type Carnotaurus are absolutely awesome. I am so in love with these. Words don't even describe how much I like them, because again, I've seen numerous people kind of create custom versions in the past, but never actually like a full-blown model. I've seen artwork kind of portraying that chameleon Carnotaurus look. I've seen people take Mattel Carnotaurus and customize them to give them this look, but I've never actually seen a full-blown regular model like this that has been created to give us that chameleon Carnotaurus look. So I am honestly over the moon excited about having these in my collection. They are so far and away different from any Carnotaurus that I've had previously that just makes them so insanely cool. And having that chameleon type of a look is just so unique and so different, and again, so appealing if you ask me. It just makes the Carnotaurus look, again, like one of the most unique looking dinosaur models I've ever seen. And the fact that Lulu has given us both a male and a female version here in different poses and different sizes helps to make this look even cooler. Again, I think he's done a phenomenal job of not only sculpting them out, but of course painting them as well, and just generally giving them that difference. Again, you can look at them and definitely see that one would be the male, one would be the female. I like that he's given them a little bit of size difference, because that's something I would expect to see between a male and a female. The fact that the male kind of has the mouth open almost makes it look like he's kind of like defending or protecting his female. Again, I might just be looking a little bit too far into that, but that's kind of the way I look at it. But he has done an absolutely phenomenal job of sculpting these out to, again, have that chameleon type look. But when you look through the course of the body, I feel like even the fine detail might be some of the best that I've seen from him so far, because it is extremely nicely sculpted, has beautiful skin texture throughout, all sorts of osteoderms and stuff everywhere. I also really quite like the poses. You have the kind of like calm sort of walking pose of the female, and the more sort of ferocious or almost dominant type of a look with the male kind of letting out a roar, or maybe coming in for a bite. I don't know exactly. But again, I really quite like the poses of both. They definitely look like they will display really nicely together. On top of that, his paintwork is awesome. He's given these guys, for sure, the chameleon type of a look, but also just a ton of variation of color as you move through, and the tones of color that he's chosen look really nice for the figures. I love the different greens, the browns, and even the blues on the tail of the male is just a really nice touch. And it's all very nice and naturally applied. It all has, again, that variation of color, which helps to give it very nice realistic skin tone and stuff. And he's given them a nice finish with a slight shine to them, which I also really quite like. And he's also gloss-coated all of the different things that you would want to see gloss-coated, like the inside of the mouth, the nails, the eyes, the horns, everything on this, again, is awesome. So if you are interested in picking these up for yourself, I will include a link in the description to the eBay store for Lulu's Customs and Classics, where you can head on over there and place an order for these insanely cool Carnotaurus and add them to your collection. So make sure you check that link, go grab these awesome figures, and of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.